back to the OHIO podcast, everybody. I'm your hostess with the mostest. I am Buckeye Boggs, a.k.a. the Podfather. That man over there, that's the wild man, Chris Wilds, and you are you, and we're thankful you decided to join us for another Thursday night call-in show. You know what to do. Smash that like button. Smash it. Couple times. Hit it. Let's also consider sharing this video right now. If you're watching on Facebook, share it. If you're watching on Twitter, share it. Let's see how many people we can get in tonight to watch this show, everybody. I've been a podcasting foe since I've gotten home. I have done 2 videos. We've got a basketball podcast coming out tomorrow. I have the consensus top 10 video for everybody tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. And so really looking forward to having a great weekend, everybody. But tonight, let's kick off the weekend with a great call-in show. So you all know what to do. Dial us up. 567-483-1999 is the phone number on your phone. Just call in. You'll be put in the call waiting list. We have 5 lines, guys. So if you don't get in right away, if you're on hold, it's because we're talking to one person and 4 other people are in line. And if that's the case, we will try to go through the calls as quickly as possible. Topics for tonight, guys. Obviously, we can talk about any of the coaches that were hired. I know a lot of you have feelings about Matthew Patricia. I get it. It was not what was expected, but sometimes you have to go with plan B. He was not plan A. Huh?
Plan Q, maybe?
No. Was not plan Q. You didn't get that far down the list.
I don't know.
Chris is grumpy tonight. He doesn't like this hire. I do. I like it. I've been convinced. And let me tell you why.
Bobby Carpenter speak one time and you're convinced.
What's wrong with Bobby Carpenter? It's my wife's fantasy.
Bobby Carpenter is a great player. He's a great entertainer now.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm sorry. I don't like the hire. I think he's wrong. The guy hasn't coached defensive coordinator since 2017. And then even when he was coaching them, they weren't that damn good, Eric.
They won Super Bowls, brah.
Okay, let me just throw this out there for you. These were his Super Bowl winning pass defenses. Keep in mind. Now I'm going to give you his New England pass defenses from 2010 to 2017. 30th in the league, 31st in the league, 29th in the league, 18th in the league, 17th. Oh, well, he cracked the 15th, the top 15 at 12th in 2016 before slipping back to 30th for 2017. Oh, then let's go over to Detroit and see how bad he can screw up.
You can't count Detroit.
Was he in charge of Detroit at the time?
He was the head coach of the worst football team in the NFL.
That amazingly was a playoff team the minute he left.
Chris is so fired up he froze. Oh, he's back.
No, I'm just telling you, go to Detroit, Eric. His defenses, oh my God, this is awful. His best one was 10th in 2018, then 31st and 32nd in the league. And the Eagles this year weren't even that damn good when he took over play calling, giving up 26.8 points per game. 31st and 29th in the NFL overall. I know you like what Bobby Carpenter has to say, but I'm telling you, the numbers don't lie.
I do like what Bobby Carpenter has to say, but let me give you my stance on this, Christopher. Regardless of what Bobby Carpenter says, I know what my eyeballs and my earballs hear. My earballs, they can hear too. Well, my ears hear. Okay? Have you listened to the guy speak? Have you heard him talk ball?
The guy is Don't get me wrong. The guy.
So you haven't.
Very,
There's
very
the answer to the question. You haven't. You're going.
The guy is
You ran.
intelligent.
You tried to be the smartest guy in the room, and you ran the statistics.
I
You went
am
to.
the smartest guy in the room. The
You are not.
statistics don't lie, Eric.
Ah! Ah!
The statistics don't lie.
Yeah. The dude is literally a rocket scientist who became a football coach.
Which means nothing.
What do you mean it means
He can blast
nothing?
his ass off into space as far as I'm concerned.
Oh
You
my
know what?
gosh.
The kid on the Little Giants was a genius too. What's he doing now?
This is incredible. We are coming off a national championship. You can never be happy. You are never happy.
I praised everything Ryan Day had done this offseason.
And so you're going to put Ryan Day back in the doghouse because you don't like the guy he hired a defensive coordinator.
I'm just saying I don't think he's the right guy for the job. When was the last time he coached in college, Eric?
Like 23 years ago or something. Because he's been in the NFL all this time.
We won't even get into what happened the last time he was in college. We'll leave that alone because that's just not even going to be dredged up. But
you need to get your internet.
Not meant to.
You need to get your internet fixed, dude. You're like freezing and glitching and all kinds of stuff. All right, we're going to go to the phone lines.
Probably UV Muck's freezing up every time I go to curse.
Let's go to the phone lines. Oh, let's pull up. I got to pull up my call list first. Well, Chris, let's just just in case, I have invited a gentleman by the name of Radio 1979 to come on the show. Who knows? He might be calling in tonight. Who made me famous on Bucknuts this week. So any one of these calls, we might run into that, just so you're aware. I don't think we will, because I don't think he has the guts to, but I did invite him on here. So we'll see if he does. But I think this is Joel up first. Joel, welcome to the OHIO podcast.
Hey, good to be back.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing well, doing good.
Well, what do you think, man? Are you down for this this hire, or are you like Chris and you're ready to put Ryan Day back on the chopping block because of it?
I really don't think it matters that much at the end of the day. I think the culture that Ryan Day is building there matters more than excuse me, I have a cold right now. I think that matters more than who he hires as defensive coordinator. I think we have enough of people like Matty G and other guys who have been there with the program. The players who are coming back, they're really good. They're guys who we probably would have seen starting this year if we didn't have so many seniors come back. And so I feel like they're going to be okay. They're not going to lose their identity of what a Buckeye defense should look like. It's not the flashiest hire. It's not the coolest hire. But at the end of the day, I don't think that matters as much as is continuing to build the culture Ryan Day is doing. He seems he's doing a good job. I'm still with Chris when it comes to the fact that he needs to prove it in November. We need to win that game. I'm super happy he got a championship. I'm really, obviously I'm happy about that. But I have enough trust now that he's going to get things right and that he's going to be able to correct what he needs to correct so that when it comes time for that game in November, we can finally get this monkey off his back.
Yes. So do you believe, Joel, that the two big hires are obviously the promotion of Brian Hartline and then the going out and getting Matt Patricia on the defensive side? How do you think that plays into getting this monkey off of Ryan Day's back?
Well, with having Brian Hartline, I'm really wondering if we're going to see more of that pass attack that we saw post, the game, and what we saw against Tennessee, what we saw against Oregon and Texas and Notre Dame. And as long as I think if he's not going in emotional like it was his last game, I really think that if we can just play to how we're built, we're going to be able to, like we said, get this monkey off the back of Ryan Day. I think he'll build some confidence. I think this was a great confidence builder for him, winning this national championship and the path they had to take, beating two SEC teams, beating Oregon and beating Notre Dame, finishing with the now more even record against top 5 opponents. I think Brian Hartline's going to bring, I hope he brings a lot to the passing game that we haven't seen as much over the last few years. And I really hope that we're able to, I just hope we're able to shred them apart in the backfield come next November. I know I'm thinking way, way ahead here, but that's all I really look forward to is that week and seeing hopefully us win. And I would love nothing more for us to go and plant our flag on their field for the disrespect that they gave us this past year.
All right, man. So now that I've asked you my questions about the coaches, what else is on your mind tonight, Joel, that you would like to bring to the table? And I think Chris's internet is back up with him there. So, what you got, brother?
Yeah, I want to say to Radio 1979 that I think you saw that scripture I quoted on that video.
Yes.
That he is he's a wolf in sheep's clothing, right?
Yeah.
He needs to stay. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And he better be careful talking bad on the Podfather before he gets whacked.
I got friends in low places, and I ain't talking about where the whiskey flows and the beer chases, if you catch my drift. Yeah, that was that one caught me off guard, buddy, and that was John Kennedy told me you never chase away the opportunity to create free content when someone gives it to you. So that's what we did, man.
Exactly. I wanted to talk about. I watched your guys' video about that debate between you and Chris about is Ohio State going to be the next dynasty, and I like how you kind of ended. It's like, what is a dynasty going to be like these days? And one thing I think NIL has changed, and I think this was probably intentional, was trying to get rid of dominance like that. That absolute. How do you even say it? Iron grasp that Nick Saban had and the SEC had while they were all paying players for years and years and stacking up talent. They couldn't transfer out. So I think opening the transfer portal and allowing NIL to now be open above table for everyone. I don't think we're going to see, like you guys said, I don't think we're going to see a dynasty like Nick Saban had. But I think you're going to see a more level playing field. You're going to see more. We've already seen it 2 years in a row. The Big Ten has won. But I think it's going to allow some of these teams to finally get over, just over the top right there. They're finally going to be able to reach their full potential. I don't think you're going to see Penn State win it this next year like everyone's saying because James Franklin is still there. But granted, everyone said that about us and Ryan Day. So I don't think we're ever going to see a dynasty again. I agree with that, like we've seen in the past. And I do look forward, though, to seeing where Ryan Day takes his team. If he can continue to, at a minimum, 2 losses a season, I mean, that's not too bad. And I think we may see a new version of a dynasty.
Yeah. So what constitutes a dynasty then in your mind, given those parameters?
I'm going to have to go with consistency because if you look at someone like Mike Norvell down at Florida State, 1 year he's able to have a perfect regular season, and the next he goes 2-10. That's obviously, and even if he wins 10, 12 games next year, and won a natty, that wouldn't be kind of a dynasty at all, because it's not consistent. I liked what Chris was saying earlier about consistency, right? And I think Ryan Day has set himself up well in the fact that he has the highest winning percentage. We haven't had less than a 10-win season with him, right? And so I think that alone, with a few natties sprinkled in there, maybe over a 10-year course, I'd say 3 natties is enough for me to kind of say, I wouldn't say like old school dynasty, but the new age dynasty, right? You're consistently above 10 wins, and you're getting, every 2-3 years winning another natty over a 10-year span. I feel that's a pretty dynastical run, in my opinion.
Interesting. Yeah. So, Chris did bring up the consistency thing. I think he's going to actually, Chris has exited stage left to try to go restart his router. He kept freezing up on us. But, yeah, consistency's an interesting argument to make on that. There hasn't been a program, Joel, in the last, well, really 80 years as consistent as Ohio State. It really started with Woody Hayes, and it hasn't stopped. There's been one season here and there where we haven't been dominant and haven't won a lot of games. I can remember the most recent was Luke Fickell in 2011, right? Where they went, or 2012, I think it was, where they went 6-7 overall. Cooper had a losing season one time. Other than that, in my lifetime, and I'm 43, Ohio State, I think it's only had 2 seasons where they didn't have a winning record. And that consistency has led to where you're always in there fighting for the opportunity to win national championships. And so Chris made a great argument about the consistency. He had me on that one. But at the end of the day, it's still about natties more than anything. You've got to win national championships.
I got one more thing, actually. Sure. I want to throw this in there. I think he needs to win just over 50% of the conference titles as well, and at least make 80% of an appearance there, right? So I don't know if Ryan Day is going to reach a dynasty, but I think that should be another aspect we bring in is frequent appearances in the conference championship and a 50 to just over 50% win percentage in the conference championship on top of the nationals. So that's kind of showing that, hey, we are on the top of our league, right, in the Big Ten.
Yep.
And then making sure that you're making a nice drive each year, maybe every few years, winning that natty. I think consistently doing those things all together is what I would say is that new age dynasty. And the season would have been the 2011 to 2012 season, I believe, because I have that hat from Chris, which was the last game that Coach Tress coached at, and that was the 2011 Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Which would have been from the 2010 season, but
yep.
not important.
Yep. So 2011 was, yeah, you're right, because 2012 was the undefeated season. First year Urban was there.
The forfeited year.
Yeah, and then 2013 when the second season, we lost to Michigan State, and then, yeah, you're right. Joel, any last thoughts on your way out, buddy? We got a couple guys in the queue ready to dial it in.
No other thoughts. That's it.
Well, great first call to lead off the night, Joel. Good to talk to you, my brother. Thanks for calling in, my man.
Yes, sir.
All right. OHIO. Appreciate you, buddy.
IO.
All right. Chris, how's the internet?
Looks good now.
Yeah.
Rebooted the router, so I think things are better.
Yeah, you're clear now too. You were really fuzzy before. It was struggling to keep up.
I have many fuzzy nights, Eric.
I wish we could go back and restart the show again. That was so much fun yelling at each other, dude. Just so you all know.
I'm right, though. Just so you know, Pat, I've heard a lot of people talk about culture.
Yeah.
Matt Patricia is a culture killer. Just ask the people of Detroit. Culture killer.
Ooh. That's a stern take, dude. Do you really believe that 100%? Like, are you going to die on that hill?
From everything I've read, yeah, it's one I might consider dying on.
What? Okay. We'll explore this summer. Culture killers. That's a great topic to dive into. What can kill a culture? Ooh, Chris, bringing the juice tonight. All right, man, let's go to Tyler. I think Tyler's going to disagree with you tonight. What up, Tyler?
Chris,
What's
I
up?
gotta disagree with you.
That's okay. You can disagree with me. Everybody's entitled to be wrong.
Tyler, let him have it, buddy.
Well, because Chris, it's not just you; it's everyone else that keeps saying that this is a horrible hire. I'm like this. Let's look at this from a bird's eye view, from a perspective. Before Matt Patricia was there, what has the Lions done as an organization prior to?
About what they did once he got there.
Well, my point is, you have to he didn't really have the talent, nor was he set up for success when he was the head coach there. That was my point. So
Wait a minute. He didn't
we
have
want
the
to
talent.
say that
He had Matt Stafford, for God's sakes. All the guy did was go to Los Angeles and
But
win a
who-
Super Bowl.
yes, he did. He did. But when you're an organization that hasn't won anything, when you're not used to winning and you're trying to adapt a winning culture, it's hard. It's hard.
I agree with that.
And the Lions haven't adapted a winning culture until just recently with Dan Campbell. And we don't even know if he's going to be successful or not.
Let me interject. Before Campbell, Chris Spielman went back to Detroit and changed the culture. Campbell gets a lot of credit that I think should go to Spielman, in my opinion. But I digress. I agree with you, Tyler. You keep debating Chris. This is good because you're doing a good job, Tyler. Keep it up.
And that's a good point too, Eric.
Thank
I
you.
wanted to give you credit there too.
Thank you.
Because I didn't know that personally. So, but when you're going, it's like, all right, let's say Ryan Day, for example, hypothetically, he goes to a team like Purdue and he's trying to adapt Ohio State's culture at Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
Purdue's not used to winning.
Correct.
To the caliber of Ohio State. But you get him there and expecting him to adapt that same winning mentality you're a bit unrealistic at that point, because the same resources are not available at Purdue like they have at Ohio State.
100% right.
So the Lions, they are a great organization, but they haven't won anything like the Patriots. So we have to keep it in perspective like that. And also his stint in Philadelphia too, when he was a defensive consultant. As a 49ers fan, I saw that defense when my 49ers beat them 42-19. That defense was already a dumpster fire prior to him.
You're right, but he didn't do anything to improve it either.
That is true.
And my biggest issue with it. Go ahead. Did you have something else, Tyler? Or was that just me echoing? That may have just been me echoing. My biggest issue with him is I just don't feel he's a good fit. I don't like what he brings culture-wise. I don't like the fact that we've got a guy who's used to calling a 3-4-4-3 coming in to run our 4-2-5 because we don't have the guys to put in place right now to run a 4-3 defense. We have,
You mean a 3-4?
or well, either one really. And you know, to me, as I look at the guy's defensive numbers, yes, he won Super Bowls in New England, never having a defense that finished better than 12th against the pass in the league. He only had, I think it was 2 years where he finished inside or 1 year he finished inside the top 5 in run defense. His defenses were very much bend but don't break in the pros. And I just don't feel that translates to dominant defense at the college level. I just
But
don't.
then here,
What's that?
but Chris, my only thing that's really giving me pause with that is, yeah, his defensive stats aren't that great from the outside looking in, but if in football, if you win by just 1 point, you still win the game.
100%.
It regardless of how we do it. If we win, we win.
My concern
I think that the defense is going to is not the strength this year; it's the offense.
But my concern is that I don't know that this defense can be even dominant enough under Matt Patricia to keep teams under 30 points a game.
Let me interject right here, Chris. Do you know who else did we lose anybody on our defensive staff other than Jim Knowles?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay. Do you believe Jim Knowles was the sole reason why this defense was as successful as they were this season?
I do not.
Okay.
I think a lot of it came down to the assistant coaches. But I would also agree that Knowles was someone who let his assistant coaches do their thing.
Oh,
With
no.
the exception of maybe Larry Johnson.
No. How quickly have we forgotten Ryan Day had to step in that situation?
You're right. Right. Him and Larry Johnson had beef. You know, and the other thing
did we not
go ahead.
Did we not run 4 defensive linemen all season long?
We did.
Okay.
And, you know, let's look at that too while we're talking about defensive line.
Okay.
We just talked about Larry Johnson having beef with Jim Knowles. Matt Patricia, as a defensive guy, a lot of his emphasis was defensive line. Are we going to set ourselves up for the same type of conflict again with Knowles and with Patricia and Johnson?
See, my only thing with that is I don't think that's going to happen because I think, unlike Knowles, I think Matt Patricia's a lot more going to listen to Larry Johnson's perspective, unlike Knowles, who was, from what I've been told, extremely stubborn and did not want to listen to Larry Johnson's perspective. So
possibly,
I think that this will be a much more better working relationship between Patricia and Larry Johnson, because Patricia will actually listen to what Larry is trying to run on his defensive line.
And you could be right, Tyler.
Unlike Knowles.
You could be right, but at the same time, when you have two guys who both want to be alphas sitting there, you know, who have the same basic focus being that defensive line, one or two things are going to happen. They're going to be in lockstep or they're going to be constantly butting heads. Which is it going to be? I don't know. I can't predict that yet. But there's too much wrong with this hire for it to be right. I mean, you could go about the stats. You could go about the fact that the guy, it's been documented in Detroit that he was a culture killer. You could go about the fact that, talk about the fact that you got two guys wanting to coach that defensive line now. You could talk about the fact that, just he hasn't been in college for so long. I mean, to me, and not only that, but he doesn't feel like the other hires. And now that's just a gut thing, obviously. The other hires felt right. This one doesn't feel right. There's something uncomfortable about it. Now that's
Now,
just
but
me coming
only
from a personal perspective.
the only other thing that's really making me think that that's a false sense of reality, and I don't want to make it. I think it's because I think we are afraid of the unknown as people. We are afraid
That's
that
fair.
if we don't know something, we fear the worst. That's kind of. I think that we have to take a step back and think, okay, a fresh perspective is not a bad thing too.
That's 100% true, Tyler. I agree with you on that. But at the same time, for me, as somebody who looks at statistics, it's a problem for me. That's just what I'm going to be.
That's understandable.
Until he proves me wrong, I don't feel that we can. I just don't feel we've got a top 5 defense with this guy calling it.
Do we need to have a top 5 defense this year?
We always need to have a top 10 defense. Absolutely.
Let me ask you.
I mean, like.
Let me ask you this question,
What I mean
Chris.
by that, Chris.
Let me ask you this question, Chris.
Okay, ahead, Chris.
Let's hypothetically say Jim Knowles is still at Ohio State.
Yes.
How much of a step back do you think the defense takes, given the fact that we're replacing 8 starters?
Oh, you're definitely taking a step back. I'm not even going to dispute that.
So you have to admit you cannot automatically blame a statistical step back in 2025 on who the hire was.
You're 100% right. I agree with that.
But however, there will be a lot of Ohio State fans. That's the first thing they're going to jump on without putting that into perspective.
And when you look at this guy's statistics everywhere he's gone, I can understand them making that jump. Not that it's right, not that it's fair, but I can understand the logic in making that jump.
Jay says, and I think he's talking about Matt Patricia. He was a top 10 in the league every year he coached in New England.
That was actually not correct, specifically in the passing defense. And if you look, and again, I shut down.
What about total defense? What about total defense?
Again, I don't have the computer up because I shut the other one down.
Yeah, when Chris pulls up his second computer, it kills his internet, and then we get fuzzy Chris that wants to yell a lot.
But I will say in scoring defense, they were middle of the road. I do remember that. In yards per game, middle of the road. They were terrible against the pass. And in several years, not that great against the run.
Okay.
When did that start?
That was from 2010 to 2017 with New England. I looked at the years from 2010 forward.
I'm going to have to dive into some of these statistics a little bit with Chris, and we'll do a video for you guys where we dive into the stats. I'll say this in closing to this argument, and Tyler, I'll give you the last word after I'm done.
Okay.
Every former player, a Buckeye player, that has a platform that I've listened to, every former or every football coach who's talked about this who has a platform that I've listened to, love the move. There are people in the media who hate the move. None bigger than probably Doug LeMaurice, who I respect immensely, is not for this move. He does not like this hire. So, and then just reading between the lines with the comments and the fan base that I'm getting about a 60-40 is how I feel about it right now. 60 who like it, 40 who don't. And the 40 who don't are very verbal right now in their dislike of this. Kudos to you, Chris, for bringing the culture aspect. That's the first time I've heard of that. I want to explore that more. I feel that that's worth talking about. I think the statistical things that you're bringing, Chris, also we need to look at that as well. But I think you can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater, and meaning this. There's nuance to this, and that is one of the things that I think Ryan Day was really key on, and the reason why I think he went down this path. And a lot of people aren't talking about this, but I haven't heard everybody, so I don't want to toot my own horn because I don't think it's not some kind of great football mind that I have that I'm coming up with this. But this guy has coached multiple different kinds of defenses. And one of the things that I think Ryan Day might be considering moving forward is we might not necessarily be stuck in playing a 4-2-5. Meaning, if we don't have the right personnel to run a 4-2-5, we need to be able to switch our base defense to fit our personnel. That was never going to happen with Jim Knowles.
Agreed.
This guy seems to have the kind of mind defensively where he can run multiple defenses, and that might fit our personnel better, and therefore we might be able to succeed long term.
Do you feel like it fits the personnel that we have in the locker room right now?
I don't know what personnel we have in the locker. We lost so much, Chris. I don't know the second string coming in. I don't like my biggest fear right now is we're not going to get a pass rush.
That's actually one of my least biggest fears.
Really?
I've got a lot of confidence in that defensive line.
I have a ton of confidence in the secondary because we've recruited the heck out of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we have the depth at linebacker. And
that's concerning.
And I don't know if we are going to be able to create a pass rush. Caden Curry had 2 sacks, 2.5 sacks maybe?
2.5, I think.
Kenyatta Jackson, I think, had 1.5.
I think he had 1.5 or 2.5. I can't remember.
Not enough, given the number of snaps they had. It's not. We got to do better than that. Now, those snaps are going to increase, obviously, but my point. All right, Tyler, you get the last word in, man. What do you think?
So that's also what I wanted to bring up too, Eric, is I think that's actually smart on the part of Ryan Day, too, of getting Matt Patricia, too, because I think that he's going to see our personnel and say, okay, you might not be good at playing. All right, I'll give an example. Let's say Jason Moore, right? Jason Moore, you're not good enough to we don't think you're good at defensive tackle, so we will put you out at defensive end and see how you play there. So I think that he's going to see, like, also Lorenzo Styles. You might not be. We're going to try you at nickel corner, but if you're not great at it, we'll try you at safety. I think that he's really going to experiment a lot more with our roster on defense compared to Knowles, who was trying to fit all our players in like a square peg in a round hole. And some of those players are not going to fit those roles that Knowles would have, like C.J. Hicks example.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's CJ Hicks is a perfect example of this. So we kept trying to put him at linebacker, an off-ball linebacker. He can't cover. He can't cover. You can see it. He's not comfortable at it. So I think Matt Patricia is going to say, okay, CJ Hicks, you're not great at off-ball linebacker. Let me move you down to defensive end because you got a lot of speed. I think that's a part of the reason why Ryan Day got Matt Patricia, because he's going to see from a fresh perspective all our players and try to put them in the best position to succeed, unlike Knowles did.
It's a good point, Tyler. All right, man. We appreciate you calling in, man. We got to move on. We've got four more calls in the queue. We got to pick it up, buddy. Appreciate you calling in. Thanks for your insight, and appreciate you being the mod, my friend. So,
Have a good one, Tyler.
I.O.
Moving along. Speedman, what's happening?
Who's the Speedman? My name's Butthead. I'm here with Beavis.
No. I'm the great Cornholio.
Do you still?
Cornholio.
Are you? Is it immature for a 43-year-old man to still do Cornholio voices?
No more so than somebody
probably
who's
about as
52.
mature as a 55-year-old man doing it. What's going on, boys?
Oh,
How's it
Speedman.
going?
Chris and I are trying not to kill each other tonight.
Yeah, I heard that. You know, like I said before on an earlier podcast, don't make me pull this car over. Don't make me separate you two.
Well, what are your thoughts on this, Speedman?
Okay, so let's just dive into the Matt Patricia thing. I know he's got a checkered past and all that, whatever, but you know, he's transformed his body. I guess he's lost like 100 pounds and all that stuff, which kind of leads me to think that he's maybe transformed his mind, the way he thinks and all that stuff, as far as mental attitude towards his players and his position. I'm hoping this is the case because we know he's smart enough to coach on every level of the game, obviously. And if he, well, and like Chris said, I'm definitely concerned about whether or not he fits into our culture. But with that being said, we also at some point have to start trusting Day to make the coaching moves that he needs to do because he did get a natty. You know, I don't know. I'm not sure if I cared for Knowles and all that. You know, like I said before, I definitely respect the fact that he got us a natty. He got us an improved defense with all the talent we have and all that. And I could not thank him more. But someone who is not a red meat eater, I'm not sure, should be a defensive coordinator.
You're speaking my love language now, Speedman. Yeah. Well, you know, he is a cigar smoking connoisseur, which I like that. I like me a good stogie. So fun fact, Speedman. I used to have a cigar channel.
Yeah,
Believe it or not.
that went by the
Nice. I
side
didn't even
with
know it was a thing.
Yeah,
Videos channel.
I would buy a bunch of different cigars and review them, smoke them and review them. Yeah. Anyways, I was off topic.
No, we don't get off topic here.
Nah, never. So other than the fact that he hasn't been in college for a long time, what are some other concerns you have with the hire?
Well, fitting in with the culture, not only with the players, but fitting in with the culture of the coaches. Obviously, we've come a long way from 3 years ago when Knowles did come into it. And if he is as volatile as what people have reported, as in Jim Knowles, then somehow they still made it work. So my thing is, if Matty G and Walt and the other defensive staff are supportive of this, and maybe wants to learn from him, or whatever the reasoning is, maybe it might just be faith talk and all that. But if they're supportive of this hire, that's got to say something.
But can they really argue with this hire? Can they come out and speak publicly against this hire, considering this is the guy Ryan Day chose?
I'm sorry, Chris, I didn't hear you, bud. What'd you say?
No, I said, but can they really come out and speak against the hire? I mean, this is the guy Ryan Day chose. Can they really come out and publicly speak against him and say, we don't like this guy, we don't like this choice? I mean, can you come out and say that in public
Maybe not so
against the
many
guy your boss
words.
chose?
Would they come out and directly say it? Maybe not, or whatever, but I think you could read it in their body language. A lot of times, we've seen press conferences a billion times, a billion coaches and all that. You can kind of read their body language somewhat. And
Right.
I don't know. I'm willing to give them a chance, just like I said, because Ryan Day has got us to a natty and won that natty. So, you know what? If it doesn't work out, I do expect Ryan to make a change quicker than what he may have 2 or 3 years ago, and trying to give a person the chance that just would not work out.
That's fair, but I'm so hesitant. I am so hesitant to give this any kind of blessing, given that it just screams out to me that this is not a good decision. And I hope I'm wrong. Like I've said so many times, I hope nothing more than Ryan Day is able to prove me wrong. But I don't have that confidence. Man.
Buckeye Chuck brings up
Understandably so.
Buckeye Chuck brings up a really good point, Chris.
What's that?
You seem to have a problem with coaches who have the first name that start with the letter M.
I don't, because I would have loved to have seen Matty G and OG Walt get their shot at this.
That's true. That's true. Matty does start with. Man, I tell you, it's gonna be a long summer, Chris, if you and I can't get on the same page on this one, buddy. It's gonna be a long.
I'm not feeling good about it, Eric. I'm not feeling good about it at all.
I know. Oh, Speedman. So, Doreen says she wants to see you come up to Columbus soon.
Oh, absolutely. I love me some Doreen, Agent Posh. That's my girl right there. I can't wait to come up here and meet you guys if they ever make the announcement for the spring game. And if they have, guys, let me know. I don't know. I haven't heard anything yet.
April 12th.
She is the best.
So here's the deal on that, Speedman, and I'll just give that announcement now.
The showcase.
It's not called a spring game. They're calling it a spring showcase. It'll be on April 12th, and I am in contact with Ryan over at 2nd and 7, and we have started conversations on what we are going to try to do for the tailgate. So that's where we're at right now. I haven't had anything definitive yet on location or anything like that, but we're going to try to do something with 2nd and 7. And if that falls through and it's just us again, I will let everybody know where we're going to set up. We have always tried to set up as close to the stadium as we possibly could for the tailgate so that while you're walking there, you can bump into us. That might be easier said than done this year. So, because it sounds like they've got a lot of different things going on. Um, so yeah, what is the spring showcase going to be? My inclination, this is my guess, it's going to be a glorified practice, which are still really interesting, by the way. And can I be honest with you? Can I be honest with you? You actually learn more at the practices than you do at a scrimmage.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And shoot, let's be honest, it's been a showcase for the last 4 or 5 years. It's not been the Scarlet and Gray game for a long time now, but you can see some of these guys, the way they hustle, the way they make their reads, and it's more, I think, of us seeing where the players are mentally as far as being out on the field and be able to adjust to their positions just as much as their speed and abilities.
You know what we should do? This is what they should do. This would be freaking hilarious. They should get all of the Ohio State podcast hosts together for this during the spring showcase. Get us down on the field and see who can throw the football the farthest. Who do you think would win? Zach? You think Zach would win? He's still in shape.
I don't know, man. Probably.
Bobby?
Yeah,
Bobby's
he's still in shape, but I don't know. He's not.
He was a receivers coach. He wasn't a quarterback coach.
Shoot, I don't know. Let me think about that. Maybe Justin Zwick.
Yeah, Zwick. How could we forget Justin Zwick? Because he's on the podcast, right? Justin Zwick would win that easy. He's a quarterback. Yeah.
And he was a pretty good one. He just had some bad luck getting stuck by Troy Smith.
Yeah. Yeah, good call. Good call, Speedman. I know this much. I would not win that game.
No, I probably couldn't punt the football as long as 50% of the participants can throw the ball. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Emily says he has a podcast. Emily, he's on the podcast with I'm trying to remember who runs that now, guys. Put it in the comments.
Bobby Carpenter's on there.
Yeah, Bobby's on there with them and some other guys too. But anyways, Speedman, we got to go to some more phone calls here, brother. We got them building up now. Last thoughts, my man.
Yes, sir. Well, I'll tell you what, just one real quick note. I think we need to celebrate Jaden Fielding in the playoffs. That kid actually came through with his field goals and all that. I've been hypercritical of the kicking game and this, that, and the other, and not necessarily of the kicker themselves, but why we do not pursue the best kickers in the country. Have no idea why we don't. And last but not least, I was glad to see Sam Williams-Dixon back to the team, coming back out of the portal. But let me ask you guys this. Can entering the portal be perceived as a weakness to compete, keeping teams from considering an unproven player? We all understand why some of these guys want to go to another team to possibly, get that starting role and this, that, and the other. But does that hinder them getting to that starting position if they can't even make the field with the team they're leaving.
Unless they're going to Syracuse.
Yes, it can. Absolutely. And I tell you what, Coach Locke is probably welcoming back with open arms. And that first practice back, I bet he feels it from Coach Locke.
Yeah, he's going to
I'll guarantee it.
That guy will love you, but he's gonna ride you.
Sometimes love hurts.
Sam Williams-Dixon better get used to the feel of having a saddle on his back, because Coach Locke's gonna ride that guy for at least a solid week of practice. I guarantee.
And he should.
Yeah, totally. I understand it. Like I said, and kudos to Devin Brown or whatever, because he has stuck it out for the last 3 years. I guess 4 if you count his redshirt season. And I just have immense respect for that young man for sticking it out like he has. Yeah. And I wish him well.
Emily says we probably wanted him back. We need him back. Yeah, we need the depth in that room.
Absolutely.
But I also know how coaches like Coach Locke are. They're very competitive guys, and I could definitely see where he's gonna welcome them back, and then he's probably gonna ride them.
But Eric, he came back, and now how far is he gonna slide down that chart?
I don't know that he's.
We got 3 really good freshmen coming in.
I need Bo Jackson to have himself like. I need Bo Jackson to be legit. So, because that Bo Jackson knows the OHIO podcast. I mean, that T-shirt needs to be made.
That T-shirt writes itself.
It does. It does. Speedman, thanks for calling in, brother. Appreciate you. OH.
Hi-oh. Appreciate you, boys. We'll see you on the next go-round.
Take her easy, buddy. Have a good one.
You too, boy.
Oh, sorry. I was a little quick.
I'm just hanging up on people.
Sorry, I'm trying to move along, dude. We only have 5 phone lines, Chris. I'm not rich like John Kennedy and have 15 or whatever he's got. Goodness sakes.
25, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't that many. Wasn't that many. Hello, Ray. Did you run backwards today?
Hey, Skipper. How you going?
I'm all right. How'd your surgery go?
How's my what?
How'd your surgery go?
I didn't have any surgery. I was supposed to get a shot, but you know how doctors are. I waited 6 weeks to get in there, and they're telling me I got to wait 2 more weeks just to get my first shot.
Jiminy Christmas. So 2 more weeks, huh?
$10 every time you go in there. That's like 40, 50. They got three orders for me to get shots, and then a follow-up. So that's $10. Luckily, I got good insurance from General Motors and retired from there. But I went out and did a little shopping today. You know who I got something for, don't you?
What's that?
I went out and did a little Valentine shopping. You know who I thought about, didn't you, today when I went to the post office?
Probably all those kids that you like to get stuff for.
Yeah, I got some stuff for Kurt Warner, 3 stuffed animals, and I got 3 in the mail for you.
Ah, thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. How's that national championship?
They're telling me it's going to be, because Monday the post office doesn't run, you'll get it Tuesday, but I don't believe that. I think they usually get out there a day or 2 early. So if you get that in the mail Saturday, after you open it up and look at them, give me a call. Let me know you got them, okay?
All right, I will. I will, brother. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
I'm going to go negative here for a second, okay?
Okay, well, Chris is waiting on it.
I don't like that hire by Ryan Day. Ryan Day is a nice guy, but I'll tell you, that guy, wasn't he the one in on with Bill Belichick when they had that cheating scandal when Kurt Warner lost that second Super Bowl?
He was.
Yes, but he was the defensive coordinator. He wasn't the on the offensive side, but yes.
Yeah, well, Ryan Day better keep an eye on that guy. He had a shady past too when he was younger. So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm praying this works, but I don't know about it. I feel like Chris. I don't know if he's going to fit in the right culture for Ohio State.
Well, you're the second person that's brought that up now. So it's definitely something that needs to be considered. You are not alone in your concern about that, my friend.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping I'm wrong. Like Chris, we're both hoping we're wrong because we don't want Ohio State to go downhill here.
Right.
But I don't want no cheating scandal like Michigan's got over their head either.
I don't either, and I don't think Ryan Day will let that happen. At least I don't think he
No,
will.
I don't think Ryan Day would too. He's too nice a guy. He'll keep an eye on the guy. I'm hoping that we're wrong about this. That you got to give a guy benefit of the doubt. We all make mistakes in life, so those one things in the past. Hopefully he'll be clean and stay honest and integrity. That's what I want: honesty and integrity.
Amen.
That's why I left Michigan. Went to you guys because I like the way the players talk about God and stuff.
I appreciate that so much that you see that and you respect that. And I tell you, that's why one of the reasons why we have this channel, we have this podcast is because Ray is because we as Buckeye fans we want that, and we want to hold the team to not only the high standard of winning excellence on the football field, but also of the high standard off the football field. So I feel you.
We got a lot of young kids out there that are looking up to these guys.
Absolutely.
We don't want them to go the wrong path. These kids that are growing up to be Ohio State players.
That's right. That's right. You're 100% right about that.
I got a couple more negative things. You won't believe this. About 6 months ago, I was at Kroger's and they put a trespassing charge on me for talking about that movie.
I
got out of it after 6 months by doing a lot of bitching about it. And then now I got another one over to the mall. These guys wanted to know about the movie, 3 or 4 of them, and then they decided to call the police and put a trespassing charge on me. They'll sell Girl Scout cookies in the mall and sell them, and they'll sell Reese cups, but I can't talk about a movie that helps special needs children. That's how bad our world is.
So why did they slap a trespassing charge on you? Were you talking to like just walking around the Kroger?
People about the movie, and they're all buying it in the mall. And the security didn't like it, so they decided to call the police on me. I said, "You guys got to be off your rocker. You guys got to be crazy." I said, "Don't we have any freedom of speech left in this country? We can't talk about God at all. It's a crazy world we live in today." Eric, you must see some of that stuff yourself out there.
Ray, I just want to throw this out there. It's not unheard of.
Just pray for me that I can get out of this one. I've called the mall. The police give me 3. I've called 3 different times. All I get is a tape message, and they don't call you back. I said, I'm retired from UAWGM. I could file a lawsuit against you, but I'm hoping it don't come to that. Well, I'll see if they ever call me back. I wonder if how they set up all these people with tape machines and they just blow you off. You know what I'm saying?
Kroger actually, Girl Scouts is only allowed in Kroger's, and I know this because my daughter sells Girl Scout cookies, with certain stipulations.
What's that?
They're not allowed to approach the customers. The Girl Scouts aren't allowed to approach the customers. They have to sit back, and they're not allowed to ask them if they could want to buy Girl Scout cookies. They have to ask them if they want to donate. Kroger's puts all kinds of stipulations on anybody.
They were doing it when they seen me doing it. When I started talking about the movie and I was bold, I asked these little kids Girl Scout cookies from them back. I said, you got to be bold if you want to sell them. And hell, they started selling them when they started talking like I was.
The only downfall is that Kroger's will boot.
But I guess they're saying the mall is private property, which I don't really believe because and they said I'm soliciting. You call it soliciting, talk about a movie. I'm not getting a nickel out of talking about that movie.
And I
I'm trying
agree
to
with
help
you.
special needs children. I just don't understand. We don't have any morals left in this country, hardly.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%, Ray, but let me tell you, businesses are going to act in their own best interest. So,
Yeah, I know it's all about money, but like I said, I'm not getting a nickel. I was just trying to tell, and all the people in the mall. I'm a good salesman. People ask me all the time, said, Ray, you could be my number one salesman. Why don't you do that? I said, because I'd get fired. I said, I'm working for the number one guy, God, and he'll never fire me. I'm a pretty bold guy. If you knew me, you'd know what I'm talking about. I'm not ashamed of talking about my faith.
and you shouldn't be. So,
And that's why I like those football players, because they were like Kurt Warner. They're not ashamed to tell their faith.
That's right. That's right, Ray. That's right. They like to wear.
Remember, the religious people's the one that put Jesus up on the cross. He said, God forgive them. They do not know what they do. I run into it all the time.
That's right.
I told them police that. But anyways, I'm so happy for that national title. I'm still wearing that shirt, and I really appreciate that you giving me that.
You're welcome, Ray. I appreciate you and appreciate you calling in, man. And we'll be praying for you on this situation, that it all goes well for you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm hoping to go back to running after I get one of those shots.
Yeah, I hope
I've been walking pretty good, but when you start feeling like you're breaking down, you kind of think maybe I ought to lay back a little bit. I've been doing this 40 years, running a mile backwards and running 9 miles, and I cut it down to 3 miles. But I'm going on 76. You can't live forever. You know what I'm saying? We're all going to die.
Yeah.
As long as we believe Jesus died on the cross, we'll be in good shape when we go to heaven. Well, our glory will be when we go to heaven to get our dues out of life.
Amen, brother. Amen, buddy. So, all right. Well, thanks for calling in, Ray.
God bless you guys. OH.
IO. So Eric, I got to apologize. Sugar's running a little low. That's why I've been sitting here nibbling. So I want to apologize to everybody that you've seen me maybe take a couple bites. Sugar's running a little low. Got to take care of that.
No problem. Thoughts and prayers to Ben Crispin's family and Jim Carsato's as well. I did a video on that this morning. If you guys haven't watched it, go check that out after the show. New phone number. This might be our guy, Chris. Let's see. 708. Welcome to the OHL podcast. Who we chatting with?
Hey, Eric. Hey, Chris. This is TG from the Buckeye Boys.
What's up, TG?
How's it going?
What up, y'all?
Good to talk to you. Good to talk to you. This is our first time I've ever actually got to talk to you, TG.
Yeah, I know. I've actually been intending to call into your show for a while, Eric. It's just that I've been so busy with stuff. This is actually the first time I get a chance to call in, but I'm always watching your show.
I appreciate that, girl, man. I appreciate that. All right, so I have not heard your opinion on this yet, and this has been the big debate tonight amongst everybody in the chat and with Chris and I. Your thoughts on Matt Patricia's being called the new DC at Ohio State?
I think it's a great hire. And I think it's a great hire because, Eric, I don't know if anybody's ever brought this up, but is this any different from what Nick Saban would do?
So, yeah, you mean as far as Ryan Day bringing him on and kind of bringing on someone who has experience, but maybe has needs a little bit more refining to kind of go back into becoming a head coach again.
Yeah, in a way. Put it this way. With Nick Saban, I've talked about this actually on the Buckeye Boys show, where I mentioned the fact with Matt Patricia hiring, it's pretty similar to what Saban has done in his career with everybody, except he's mostly done it with offensive guys than defensive guys. Because you have to think about it. Nick Saban is a defensive-minded guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's all about defense. He knows about the offense, but he's not about but he's not about it. That's not who he is. He's about defense. He can make internal hires on offense, but he's only going to do it if these guys prove that they can become great. play callers. And the way that you're going to be able to do that is if he brings in a guy with experience from the NFL who had not a successful, put it this way, they had a great start, and the end of their tenure, you only remember them for the negative, not the positive. So he brings those guys in to run the offense in order to have an adult in the room so he's not stressing about the offense as much, and he can focus on the defense. Because when I look at what Ryan Day does, it's so similar to Nick Saban. He hires from within on the offensive side like Nick Saban would do on the defensive side. Why? Because Ryan Day is an offensive-minded guy. He's offense first, knows defense, but he's all about the offense. He wants to elevate Brian Hartline because Brian Hartline, first, you want to keep him with the Buckeyes. Second, it's time for him to take that next step in his career to become a play caller. And Ryan Day feels like he's ready for that. You brought in Chip Kelly to help Brian Hartline become a better play caller. Now you raise him up, you bring in a staff, and surround Brian Hartline with as much coaching talent as possible to set him up for success. Him bringing in Matt Patricia is like Nick Saban bringing in Lane Kiffin, bringing in Steve Sarkisian, Bill O'Brien, an adult to run the defense so he's not stressing about it 24/7. Because do you want him to constantly be involved, stressing out about both sides? Or would you rather have an adult in the room running one side so that way he can focus on making sure the offense is on point? Because I would rather him do that.
Right.
And he promoted.
Can I ask you a question, TG, on that?
Tim Walton to DC. He promoted Tim Walton to DC. Sorry, Eric, but he promoted Tim Walton to DC because Tim Walton will take over when Matt Patricia leaves. But Ryan Day wants to make sure he has a revamped defense because the problem with Jim Knowles, he's too stubborn. He never revamped his defense. He never had it fit around the personnel. Matt Patricia, if you listen to him on Julian Edelman's podcast, he does that. Any personnel he has, he's going to fit the defense around it. That's why I think this is a great hire, because there's no difference in Saban. Except Ryan Day's just doing it on the defensive side, where Nick Saban did it on offense.
If he's such a great hire, though, why didn't Bill Belichick take him?
Well, I can answer that one because Bill Belichick is setting that job up for his son. That's why.
Yes. Yeah, he always wanted to hire his son to be the D coordinator.
I'm just telling you, if your own guy won't take you, there's a reason.
Yeah, I don't even think that was an option, Chris. Now you said now let me clarify, TG, that this is what you meant by this. You said that the Patricia hire was so that Ryan Day could focus more on the offensive side. Correct? Am I following you correct on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
and
to help out Brian Hartline. Because although Brian Hartline, he's going to have more to do with play calling, he's still inexperienced and is going to need some help. So Ryan Day is going to help him as much as he can, but he's going to allow Brian to continue to call plays.
Okay, so
that's the purpose of it.
If that's the case, then I want you to speak to those who say then, because your statement was that Patricia, he wanted somebody, an adult in the room. And when you said adult in the room, you meant on the defensive side. That's why you wanted Patricia there, because he wanted an adult in the room. So I want you to answer then on or rebuttal those who are worried that Matt Patricia is actually a culture killer, and therefore he's not the adult in the room on the defensive side. Obviously you would disagree to that?
Yeah, like the thing with that is this whole culture killer thing is with the Lions. And the Lions, do we really have to talk about it, Eric? I think we all know how bad the Lions organization has been for you.
You're not trying to convince me, TG. You're trying to convince the guy beside me right now who is trying his best to try to give me an aneurysm.
Be realistic about this one. He's never been a cancer killer. I think the thing is why he failed with the Lions is because A, the Lions are a failure of an organization, and B, because he was trying to be like Bill Belichick. I mean, all of Bill Belichick's coaches have never been successful as head coaches because they all try to be Bill Belichick. And they find out the hard way, it only works with Bill Belichick. It does not work with you. It never will work with you unless you're Nick Saban. And in Nick Saban's case, he did it in college, and he has the success to back it up. So I don't think he's a coaching killer. I think that's all false. And if he was, I don't think Bill Belichick would keep him around, to be honest, because Bill Belichick's a smart, intelligent guy that doesn't just put anybody on his staff. Now, I know during his final years he did that, but I think it's because I think he's done, to be honest. I don't think Bill Belichick was really in it anymore, to be honest, towards the end. But Bill Belichick in his early years, if you're a cancer to his culture, the Patriot way, where they have a winning culture, it's all about discipline. It's all about bringing the best out of their players. If you're a cancer, he's going to kick you out. I'm sorry. Ryan Day, he built this culture of Ohio State. You think he would put it in jeopardy with Matt Patricia? Do you really think that? Be honest with yourself. Do you really think with the culture that he built here that he would take a chance on destroying it with a guy he believes will be a cancer?
I feel like this was a desperation hire. I don't feel that. I mean, and explain to me how the numbers are lying. Explain to me how his performances in the pros, how those numbers lie.
Okay, let's be honest about this one, Chris. Again, his head coaching experience, I don't care.
Not
it's not like he's here to be the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. If he was here to be that would have been a problem. Secondly, the Philadelphia Eagles tenure. I know a lot of people bring that up. Okay, first of all, that is nothing to do with him. There was some tension going on between Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. There was clearly some problems going on between those two. There was some clear dysfunction. And he came in to call plays 8 games at the end of the season, meaning he never had time to install his defense. He never had time to do anything. He just had to call whatever the defense was at that point. So I don't put that on him either. And the Patriots tenure, I mean, he's not an offensive coordinator. Even though he's really good and very knowledgeable, very intelligent when it comes to offense, he's not an offensive play caller. He's not. I'm sorry. He's just not. So I don't put the Patriots, the Eagles, the Lions jobs on him because it's not like, A, he was set up for the best set of success. B, those were horrible circumstances. And C, let's be honest, it's not like he was really responsible for any of it. Like, that all falls on the organizations and pretty much the head coaches.
So nothing he's done in his career is actually his fault.
The organization itself.
No.
So nothing he's done in his career,
however, I do give him credit for that.
It's not what she said.
I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, he had Bill Belichick. He had Bill Belichick to go. Bill Belichick will tell you he was never calling the defense. Bill Belichick will tell you that all the exotic defenses they ran was because of Matt Patricia. Because even Bill Belichick will tell you he can never come up with something like that. Everything Bill Belichick did was like basic offense from what he did with Cleveland in the Cleveland Browns with Nick Saban. Matt Patricia revolutionized, or better yet, evolutionized the defense with his Bible book that he has of plays that he has from multiple different eras and multiple different times in the history of football, and he knows exactly how to call a defense based on personnel. So I give him credit for that. I give him credit for how he got them there. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, his defense, because Chris, you mentioned it early in the show, his defenses weren't top tier as far as against the passing game. They weren't great against it entirely. Well, you have to think about it like this. Part of that is because they did not have the talent at DB. I know a lot of people tend to think that those Patriots teams had a lot of talent. They really didn't. I think that what Matt Patricia did with the defense goes back to what he said. It depends on the players that you have, the personnel. If you don't have the personnel to execute a certain defense, it's going to be difficult entirely to run the defense that you want. So you got to build around that personnel. You got to build around their strengths. If you look at the corners he had, they weren't elite corners. These guys couldn't cover man-to-man, so he had to play a lot of zone in order to get these guys to get in the right spot. He had to switch up defenses. He had to do a lot of things to try to confuse quarterbacks, to try to help his guys in the passing game, to get as many interceptions, as many turnovers, to try to do as much as he can, because he knew the personnel he had was not a great team. It wasn't. It wasn't great on defense. And with him being able to do that, it helped New England's defense be able to be a top 10 defense, be able to help them win games. And if you go back to the 2016 Super Bowl, how did they beat the Seattle Seahawks? The defense. Because Matt Patricia tricked Russell Wilson into calling a pass play rather than handing it to Marshawn Lynch and just running the ball, getting the game-winning interception to seal the game and have the Patriots win.
That wasn't a trick. Pete Carroll's an
When you
idiot.
look at his career,
Hold on, TG.
no,
Pete
Hold
Carroll's
on.
an idiot.
Hold on.
That's what
Hold
that
on,
came
girl.
down
it
to.
wasn't a
You.
trick. I'm saying he made Russell Wilson rethink. Like, he tricked Russell Wilson. He wasn't trying. I'm not saying he ran any tricks. I'm saying he made Russell Wilson think twice about running the ball, handing it off to Marshawn Lynch. And Russell Wilson does have the tendency to do this because he's an idiot. But
That was
he
Pete
made a
Carroll,
rethink
though. That was
doing that and changed the play.
That
so
was
he
Pete.
can get
Had
the
me up until
interception.
there.
That was Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's the one who called that play, girl.
You sure it's Pete
Yeah.
Carroll?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I know Russell Wilson, he has like a history of doing this crap.
Pete
So,
Carroll took
Well, that's even
full
better
credit for that.
if he tricked Pete Carroll into doing it.
I
Well,
don't think he tricked anything. Pete Carroll was an idiot.
but
That's you, Chris.
that aside, I think you're making some really good points, TG, about some of the positives about him. Now, let me force you to flip this around. Do you have any concerns about this hire? And if so, what are they? Because I'm sure you've thought about that as well.
I thought about the concerns I could have. The only concern I could have is this not working out, like the defense not being that great. But at the same time, I'm like, that's a possibility. I mean, that's a possibility with Jim Knowles. That was a possibility with anyone we hired. So I don't have real concerns other than that. Because I think Matt Patricia has changed as a human being. I think he's learned from his mistakes as a coach and has worked to get better. And if you look at him and listen to him, he literally looks, feels, and sounds like a completely different person than what he was before him. And when it comes to the year he had off of football, he probably needed that to take some time to really rethink about what he did. Because
I agree.
I don't know if you guys listen to Buckeye Scoop, but they talk about how Matt Patricia reached out to Ryan Day because he was interested in taking the job. So what it tells me is Matt Patricia wants to get back into it. And I think he's learned his lessons especially from the people you hear from. He's learned his lessons from what he did in the past, and he's going to try to make things right. He's going to try to be a better coach than what he was beforehand.
I sure hope so, because he wasn't a damn good coach before.
I think he realizes, again, you can't be like Bill Belichick, man.
Chris, I don't know how you can sit here and say he wasn't a good coach. You scream statistics.
You really can't.
The dude won 3 Super Bowls.
Bill Belichick won 3 Super Bowls.
But if he wasn't a good coach, do you honestly think Bill Belichick would have left him there?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I don't think he would be in the NFL for 2 decades.
So it wasn't broke. So he was obviously doing something right, dude.
What makes you think he was doing something right?
Because he would have been fired if he wasn't.
Look at the statistics. And I still go back to, if he was so damn good, son or not, Bill Belichick would have hired him if he was that damn good.
Oh my gosh. You have once again, the wild man has talked himself into a corner that he is refusing to come out of.
Until this guy proves he can do it at the highest level.
I get it. The pessimism, I get it.
Oh, TG, I appreciate you calling in, my friend. Thank you so much. Don't make it your last time, okay, girl?
Yeah, no problem, Eric. I actually would look forward to coming on y'all show a lot more.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for calling in. We'll get you on sometime. OH.
IO.
Oh, Chris, she knows her ball, buddy.
That may be, but I agree to disagree.
I know you do. And you were polite. I appreciate that. All right, let's keep the train moving. Let's keep it going here tonight. Dave, so I believe we got on. What's up?
Yes. How you guys doing? Hi, Boggs. Hi, Chris. I wanted to give you a call. Just a few thoughts. I put a couple of these in the comments. And you guys had a show to where you guys talked about who you guys would have picked, or who you guys thought was the favorite for this position, or who you preferred for the position, correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Now, I agreed, I think, with a couple of the panelists. I had said my preferred candidates were Jim Leonard or bring back Jeff Halfley were
Yep.
my two preferred candidates. And I'm going to get to that in a second on why they're my two preferred candidates. I think one of them would be obvious on why he would be my preferred candidate. First of all, I have to say, and I did put this in the comments, when it comes to Day, I am willing to give him some slack here, because not only because he won the national championship, because I would also add he's 2-1 on hiring defensive coordinators. You know, he's had two good hires. One of them I just listed in Jeff Halfley, and obviously the other one being Jim Knowles. So far, so good, I would say. He's got a winning record on hiring DCs. And I've always said this. I think the thing with the Kerry Combs hire is I always thought I think he banked on having Jeff Halfley for longer than 1 year. And I don't think that's been talked about enough. And I don't know if they ever came to an agreement. And I don't know if you guys were surprised about this at the time. I was always surprised that Jeff Halfley took the Boston College job. I thought he would have stuck around here for a couple more years. I don't know if you guys thought that at the time, or if you guys have an opinion on that one.
About Jeff Halfley? He should have, yes. Boston College Boston College is not exactly the kind of place that you want to go to for your career to take off.
It was a good move for O'Brien for different reasons.
For his son.
It was a good reasons.
For personal reasons, because of his son's medical, his doctor's in Boston, and for his son's medical needs, it was a perfect place for him. So I get that one. But Boston College is not exactly a springboard type of job. And so I agree that Jeff Halfley probably should have stayed for at least one more year and then probably had a better opportunity. However, you can't really argue with the outcome, because he's making like $3 million or something like that. It's a DC in Green Bay, and so that's a pretty nice gig. So,
right? No, I agree with you. I just thought that, and maybe it was because I think Jeff Halfley was from that area too. So I mean, I kind of get that aspect of it. My thought process is that if he stayed at Ohio State for at least 3, maybe 4 years, whatever the case might be, at least as long as Knowles did, which was 3 years, he could have played himself up into a job that would have been a little bit higher cachet than Boston College. Let's just put it that way. A higher level job than BC. That's all I'm going with. And I think that, well, obviously that would have saved us from the Kerry Combs hire, of course. Which, I mean, let's just be real. The guy was not ready to be a defensive coordinator. I don't know if you guys thought, if that was your take at the time. It was just my view that he was one of those guys that you say it like a coordinator's not ready to be a head coach. I think he was a position coach that wasn't ready to be a coordinator. Was that always your feel with Combs, guys?
100%. However, at the time, to be completely 100% transparent, I loved the hire because I loved Combs. And so I was wrong on that really quickly. So to be completely honest, but hindsight being 2020, he was a very good position coach, and I think that was his ceiling. Now, to be also honest with you, he's a legendary high school coach in Cincinnati.
Yes.
Legendary.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, I just think that sometimes those guys don't transition. We've seen it at like a higher level where the coordinator is just a coordinator and he's not a head coach. And that's actually where you could probably go with Patricia. Now, I'll say this about Knowles, and I'm not going to be one of those that trashes Knowles, because how can you trash a guy that took over from Combs? I do think his first year, he actually made adjustments to the defense after that first year. A lot of people thought he played the all or nothing defense, which is either you're going to get a sack, you're going to get a turnover, or you're going to give up a big play. To me, the thing about that defense is that's a defense you can play but that's a defense you better play if you have really good corners. And the thing about the 22 defense is that defense did not have good corners. If there was one position group that was really lagging on the 2022 Buckeyes, it was the cornerback position. And you could see by the amount of big plays we gave up in the passing game that year. But what you do have to credit Knowles for adjusting the scheme. We had a top 5 defense in 2023. Maybe actually it's argued we could have a top 2 or 3 defense in 23. And then, probably one of the best defenses I've ever seen last year. So I'm not going to trash the guy. I don't know if you guys feel, badly about the way it went, but I still think we have to give him his flowers for what he accomplished. Wouldn't you say that's fair?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I think
we knew what he was.
I think all three of us, including Corey, we've given Knowles credit for being the DC of a national championship team, and we appreciate that. I think, if anything, the feeling towards Knowles is kind of you're the DC on one of our rivals in the Big Ten now, and so yeah. So thanks, but now you're the enemy type of thing.
Right.
But no, I don't think there's any any hatred towards the man, of what he did while he was here. I also think that there was a lot of contention going on in that coaching staff on the defensive side, and I lean towards the argument that that Corey has, that Jim Knowles and his inability to be more flexible and kind of stiff-necked is what led to him probably leaving, and Ryan Day was just tired of it. So because if there's anything you've got to admit about Ryan Day, the dude adjusts really well.
No, I agree. And here's the thing with the Patricia hire. I actually am willing to give him some slack on that because of what he's accomplished and because of the 2-1 record so far on DCs. I will say this. I mean, I think that my trepidation is this. I just wanted, and the thing that I liked about Knowles is he had shown that he could run a college defense, and he was successful with a college defense, and he improved the Oklahoma State defense, and he did it with far less talent than he had at Ohio State.
Sure.
Because that was the argument when we got him, is that, okay, he was able to accomplish that at Oklahoma State with less talent and have a highly ranked defense. What's he going to do with Ohio State's talent once he runs that defense? And I think, a lot of that borne out to be true. And I mean, my only trepidation with Knowles at the time was he was a Big 12 DC, and how was he going to do, particularly defending run offenses in the Big 10? That was my kind of concern there. With Patricia, I do wonder this. My biggest thing is the adjustment from the pro game to the college game. I mean, if you ask any football player in the history of football players, they will tell you the difference between the NFL and the difference between playing college football is, well, there's a pretty big difference. And, implementing your scheme in college versus implementing your scheme in the NFL is two different things. I mean, is that a concern for you guys? Is just, running a college offense versus running an NFL defense?
Yes.
Do you see him implementing any changes, by the way, to the scheme?
100%. And the thing is, I think that I'm worried about Matt Patricia is he's not going to be able to dumb it down enough. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. He's used to coaching guys who it is their full-time 40-hour plus job per week to do nothing but study and become an expert at the sport of football. He's now going to basically be coaching kids during the season who he gets to coach for 2 hours a day for 4 days a week. That's it. He went from 40 plus hours a week to 8 hours a week, which means he's not going to be able to get as intricate in his defensive schemes with these kids as he can with professional athletes that he's used to coaching to. So that is a concern of mine. However, he has some pretty good coaches, such as Ryan Day, who have that same NFL experience coming back down to college now to lean on to say, how did you do that? Because he's going to have to do that. Plus, you've got the perfect example right there as the co-defensive coordinator who did the exact same thing. He was a lot of people don't think, no, he was a defensive coordinator as well in the NFL.
Mhm. Yeah, with the Panthers.
So he's done that as well. So he's not just Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
my bad. Go ahead, Bob.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I mean, my whole thing is, well, first of all, I don't think he's going to. It's interesting. I had heard one of the big disagreements with Knowles and with Larry Johnson. Maybe you can confirm this: is the 3-man front versus running a 4-man defensive line.
100%.
Because if you look at Knowles' history from Duke to Oklahoma State, he was running a 3-man line at those schools. Now, I will say this: in the history of watching Ohio State football, I don't ever remember Ohio State ever running anything other than a 4-3, even back through the Tressel years. I don't even think we were running a 3-4 during the Cooper years. Have we ever run a 3-4 defense?
Not in my lifetime.
That you guys ever remember?
Not in my lifetime. We haven't.
I go back through Earl Bruce. And I
So,
can't remember.
no, go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
No, I said I go back through Earl Bruce, and I can't remember.
Well, I think the reason why you've never seen it at Ohio State is because we're in the Big Ten, and if you run a 3-3-5 in the Big Ten, you're going to get gashed to death in the running game, absolutely killed. And I think Larry put his foot down because he knew that.
Yeah, and the other thing about it is Larry had not recruited to that position to begin with.
Right.
I mean, you have to recruit a certain, defensive tackle, nose position to play to that type of defense. I mean, we were recruiting edges and defensive tackles to play in a 4-3 scheme. And so I don't think there'll be changes that way. I actually do think we'll just stick with the 4-3. My thing about it is I do wonder if the coverages will change. The one thing I would say is if we would have brought back Jeff Hafley this year, we probably have 3 corners to play that single high coverage, because I love our corners coming into this season.
Yeah.
I love Sanchez. I love Matthews. I mean, as long as we can get Iggy to stop committing 2 penalties a game, I think we could have 3 good corners we could put on the field to run single high again.
I'm not so sure that, and just keep your eye on this. I'm not saying that this is definitive or anything, but I've heard some people who know ball say move Iggy to safety and Aaron Scott's the third corner.
I like that, Boggs. Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I think we got 4 or 5 corners that can play next year, because I like Scott, I like West, I love Sanchez. I think Sanchez is playing next year. I mean, I think the back 7 of this defense is strong. I mean, to the other point that I put in the comments, I mean, the larger concern here, folks, is losing 8 starters on defense, because it's still Jimmy's and Joe's. You know what I mean? It's still the thing. And I agree with Chris's point. My one concern is the depth on the defensive line. I think we're going to put out a really good front 4. It's just, if we have a longer season going into the playoffs, do we have the depth? That's my concern about the defense.
You're right, Chris. That's fair. My whole thing about this team is I said it again tonight in the video that shoots tomorrow that you'll all watch tomorrow. And that is this. This to me looks like a 9-3, 10-2 team. And if we just get into the playoffs and you get a good draw in the playoffs, you never know what can happen, right? If we could get a Penn State type of draw in the playoffs, let's roll, baby. You know what I mean? Like,
I like that.
But
let's have a young team that's peaking by the end of the year, which I'm with. Let's go kick Scum's butt so that me and Chris and every Ohio State fan can be happy once, in a while here.
Right.
And, charging into the playoffs, playing our best football.
Absolutely. That's right. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? I mean, case in point, the 2024 national championship team, man. You know,
Right.
it's not
No, give me a 2014 vibe where we have a young team that's a year ahead of the game,
bingo.
peaking by the end of the year.
And I said
right?
the exact same thing. Yes. Look, that team was all about, hey, we are going to get an experience because this group of sophomores are all going to be juniors next year, and we're going to be loaded for 2015. And then they went out and won the whole doggone thing in 2014 with a third string quarterback.
Right. Well, that's proof positive, Bucks, that every Ohio State team before this team won ahead of the game, even back to Woody in '68, who won with sophomores.
That's right,
So,
the super softs.
There
Yep.
you go. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, it's a pleasure talking ball with you guys. I'm going to catch you guys next week. You guys going to run it back?
Yeah, of
Or
course.
every week.
Every Thursday, and even when I'm not here, Chris will be able to man it. We are, in fact, Dave, we're 1 week away from Chris having all the same equipment that I do. I'll touch on that in just a second for all of you. So, yeah, dude, great phone call, man. Good, give us another call next week.
Yeah, anytime. Hey, RIP to my first quarterback as Ohio State fan, Jim Carasados. Was a guy I first remembered as a Buckeye fan. So. Shout out there.
Hey, if you haven't already, go watch that video on our YouTube channel that I posted this morning about Jim Carsados and Ben Chrisman. And there's a story. Yes. There's a story I talk about when I was a kid meeting Jim Carsados. You'll love it. You'll love that story.
Oh, was this the one over at the school in Mount Vernon?
Great show, guys. Thanks again.
All right. Thanks for calling, buddy. OH.
LH.
IO. All right, dude. I think that's it for tonight, Chris.
It's never it.
That's it. Wow. Fireworks tonight, buddy. Fireworks tonight. Dude, good show, Chris. Are you all right? Your blood sugar okay?
Yeah, blood sugar's good.
I think at the beginning of the show we kind of got you a little off kilter there. We were yelling about.
No, absolutely not. I'm not off kilter because I know where I stand.
This is true. You do. You do know where you stand. You do. And I respect that.
And I respect everybody who is going in optimistic. I 100% think, hey, you know what? You know, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I hope that I'm proven wrong. But you know what? I just don't think that I am.
Hey, we just got a new member.
That's awesome.
Kevin, welcome to the OHIO podcast membership, my man. Do me a big favor. Email me, theohiopodcast@gmail.com. theohiopodcast@gmail.com. Email me. Let me know who you are. As a member, in a month, you'll get a free membership t-shirt mailed to you. So all I need to know is your t-shirt size and your mailing address, and I'll send that to you. But we love having you as a member. Big shout out. A Blue Wolverine gave us a $5 super chat earlier on in the show. We appreciate that. Ryan Days Beard with another $5 holler. Great show, guys. Appreciate that. And all of you in the chat tonight, man. Great job tonight, chat. Good to see everybody tonight. Appreciate each and every single one of you. You all's fantastic. So let me say this. Back during the season, we wanted to raise enough money to where we could purchase for Chris the same equipment that I've got so that it looks more uniform, sounds more uniform, and he could also do the call-in shows because I'm not going to be here all the time. Here in a few weeks, I'm heading to Florida for work, and then later in the month, I'm heading to Chicago for work.
Sure,
and so,
work.
It's a conference. It's work. I am not going to party. Trust me. It's for work. That being said, we wanted to make sure that Chris had the same equipment that I did. And unfortunately, during the season, things kind of slowed down and we weren't able to raise enough money to do that. But the last 2 months, through super chats and through the growth of the show and everything, we have raised enough money to where the first purchases of 2025, I was able to purchase a computer, microphone, and soundboard exactly like I have, so that Chris will have that in his studio as well. And as you see, because currently right now, he goes from daylight to dark as it adjusts continually over and over and over again. That won't happen anymore. He'll look just like me. How would you like to look just like me, Chris?
You've already got a doppelganger out there, Eric.
Well,
It's one Dom DeLuise.
Yeah,
Poking up that beard a little again, and
so
Bilal just became a member, by the way, Eric.
Huh?
Bilal just became a member.
Sweet. Welcome in. Same deal, dude. Email us. Are we trying to each push at the same time? Email us, theohiopodcast@gmail.com. Appreciate your membership. After you've been a member for a month, we'll send you a t-shirt. We'll need to know your
Let's run
t-shirt
down all the
sizes.
benefits. Let's run down all the benefits. Of
Go for
becoming
it,
a member.
Chris.
So, of course, you get the t-shirt after 30 days. You've got free shipping on the store items in the store behind us. You have free content. We got some great content that's members-only content. And then, Eric, man, we're going to have to get to work.
Don't remind me.
We got to get to work because our members get free access to our beginning of the year preview, which last year, what was it, 50 page?
58 pages?
58? 58 page Big Ten preview. I'm telling you, it was great. People loved it. Not to toot my own horn, but toot stinking toot.
Cool. All right. What else? Troy, you going to McCormick Place or Rosemont, Eric? I don't understand.
Probably talking about which conference center in Chicago.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I just know it's Chicago. Good question, Troy. I don't know. It's not actually in the city of Chicago.
Gonna hit the south side and catch a White Sox game?
No. No. I'm just hoping I don't catch a stray bullet.
And there goes the family-friendly rating.
YouTube just banned me. Shoot, no. Anyway, so that's coming up, and with that, guys, is the plan for Chris to start a call-in show. So the idea is going to be we have 2 call-in shows. One ran by yours truly, and one ran by Chris. Now, that doesn't mean we won't interact and still come on each other's call-in shows. We still will if the mood hits us right and we don't have things going on and things. But we just feel like it's time to do that. It's time to expand that a little bit. And so that was our plan. So
we want to aggravate the listeners 4 nights a week.
Yeah, exactly. And Corey's still planning on doing his show. It's going to be at 8:30 now on Monday night, starting this Monday, 8:30. We still have the Sunday night show at 8 o'clock every Sunday night. This will be Thursday nights at 8 o'clock, and we haven't determined exactly the time yet for Chris's show. We'll let you all know when we're going to start that, but that's coming down the pike. This Sunday's guest, you're not going to want to miss her. She is fantastic.
Very good.
I introduced my wife to her, and Sarah went, she's awesome. So it is Sarah approved, and so I cannot wait for you all to meet Heather this Sunday night. That is a fantastic idea. And you know what? It would be trolling Kennedy in a way.
I would never do that.
And Kennedy would respect that even more, I think. That is a
fantastic... I would just give Notre Dame fans one more reason to hate me.
That would be a fantastic idea. Wow. I might actually have to
let's run that one by John to make sure it wouldn't upset him first. Because let's face it, as much crap as I give him, we respect the hell out of the guy.
This is the I Hate Marcus Freeman call-in hour.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, shoot. What a fun night, guys. We appreciate each and every single one of you. If you haven't already, on the way out, please smash that like button. Also, guys, if you don't mind, tomorrow we'll have a couple more videos for you. The morning one's going to be a lot of fun. I think you enjoy it. And then JR joins me for a basketball podcast that'll drop tomorrow as well for everybody. We'll have content for you this weekend, so be on the lookout for videos that are dropping each and every single day. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for making this a fun night tonight. We appreciate all of you. As always, be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carmen, Ohio with all your heart. Till next time, OH.
Oh.
Go Bugs.